Support for this podcast is brought to you by Market Squawk, powered by livesquawk.co.uk for all of your on-demand data needs, low latency, pay-as-you-go, any asset class, anything you want to do to make a little bit of cash in these truculent times. Truculent, Jess, that means hard. Our other sponsor for tonight is xbrain.co.uk, our Viking brothers that provide us with many things: collagen protein, regular protein, other pills, and whatever. xbrain.co.uk, promo code fighting word saves 30%. It is an absolute pleasure to be joined by the man, the myth, the king of the north. We're going to call you Steve Robinson from today because, again, potential we may have to do a light rebrand. How you doing, dude?
I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, indecent. Got a little bit of makeup going on, haven't you?
That's funnily enough, that wasn't even anything to do with boxing. The Ben dropped the remote on my eye.
Hey, how are you going to be 6'7" London lookalike and get done by a TV remote?
By the way, for those that don't know, Ben is a child, because
I
think Ben's sort of a northern thing, but
it's very much so a northern thing, like the word frisk, which we learned before, and it's something. Yeah, frisk means a good time. Did you know that, Jess?
Nah.
Up in the Northern Territories, frisk means a good time. Like
getting like frisked off the police where you would get searched.
That's what it means to us. Like a frisking means that someone's going to take liberties with maybe someone's rectum. You know what I mean?
It can mean the same up. Yeah, it depends on which term you're asking for.
Or what app you use.
Yeah. I mean, if I was to say to my mum, I've just been out, it was a right frisk, I doubt she's going to whip our strides down for us, but she might.
Listen, listen, no judgment. The relationship between you and your mum, whatever, I respect it, and love is love, and the bond between mother and son is one that cannot be surpassed.
Exactly. She's at the range half the time I play the range game, but that game is cancelled now. We'll not get back onto the range game.
Everything's cancelled. You get 2 years for a dick pic. You get, you can't do anything anymore that's worth doing that's a little bit of a giggle. Yeah, Jess ain't been able to nick anyone's ladders out of his gardens for ages, the geezer. He's livid. Mate. Yeah, it's a piss take. So, guys, let's jump in. We've spoken. You've had a little bit of time to rest since the last bout. How are you feeling post? Are you in a good spot again? In general, are you all right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm in a good place. I'm using the negativity as fuel, and I know my worth. I know what I'm capable of. I know going into that fight, I wasn't me. I know going into that fight, and there was a lot of things that led up to that fight, which caused the upset. But listen, I've never been frightened about losing my zero. I couldn't give a shit about the zero. Everything I'm achieving next season is I'm overachieving in everything I do. So losing a zero is irrelevant to me. But if anything, it's just give us more ammo and more fire to show the haters and the doubters that was a bad night in the office, and I'm capable of a million times more. And we'll see that in the next fight.
Have you been shocked? I mean, how much? So I will speak for my own, because look, when it happened, as all of pods do, we support the fighters. The long and short of it is we don't have a quote unquote job without you guys. It's all well and good, Jesse, Ian and I having a chat about fighting, but it's a very different level to have yourself on, and any one of the guests we have on. It's like an honor and a privilege to speak to you guys. So from our own perspective, we put a story up, literally you walking in and, afterwards, Big Steve will be back, essentially. Now, I think there was 7 or 8 DMs off of that story, which were just it was just neg. And for myself, I don't particularly deal with neg comments, even on our small time, let alone on behalf of someone else. So they got it a little bit, which would have all been revolving around, you have a crack at fighting him then. That's really what it boils down to. But for yourself, did you get like a tsunami of just arseholes?
Yeah, I mean, there was 1,800 messages, and I reckon 5% of them were calling us all the names under the sun, telling us I've lost the money. And I had one saying, I hope your child dies of cancer. And I haven't even got a child, but just for somebody to sit behind a keyboard and physically type that out, I just think, what's going through your fucking head to send that message, especially at a time where we see the likes of Caroline Flack and, Mike Theostatus from Love Island who took their own lives. And you've got Jessie from Little Mix who's left Little Mix and was saying how suicidal she was off social media. And then you've got these type of dickheads who will sit behind a computer screen and send these messages out. And I just think, what goes through your head to physically go and send that message? But isn't it? I'm in that game, and I'm always aware that that's going to happen. And fortunately, I don't let them get to us. It's absolutely irrelevant to me. And as I say, they're losing the zero and losing the fight. The fight was lost before I even went into the ring, to be totally honest. And anybody who knows me and watches that ring walk and watches the weigh-in and realizes that I was 3 kilos lighter than I've ever been.
Yep.
I take nothing away from Shane Gill, by the way. The kid come, he was a warrior. He showed heart. He showed he wanted it more. But listen, I knew I had lost that fight before I even walked into the ring, to be totally honest.
I remember you coming out and like the fanboy, is my friend, giving it that for the story, and then you kind of turn, and I was just like, all right, well, we'll get rid of that story for a minute, and then the next one was like you getting into the ring, but like you said, you didn't seem yourself, you didn't fight like yourself, you went in and it looked like you was just going for a row against. I mean, like, respect to him, like he did way better than what we thought. He had an awkward style, he was tough, he looked like an unlicensed guy, is like the way to describe him.
Yeah, one of those kind of doing everything that you're not really expecting from someone at a sort of professional level almost. So,
well, that's bad on my coach and management point of view as well, because that's a fight they should never have took, because the gain. I was gaining absolutely nothing from fighting that kid. And you look at the likes of Johnny Nelson, who lost his first 3, and Evander Holyfield lost his first few and become world champion. So me taking a fight against somebody who's lost the first fight, you know nothing about them. And I'm sparring with the likes of Huey Fury, who's in contention of a world title in the next year or two. I'm sparring 10, 11, 12 rounds. You watch that fight, and I come into my own in rounds 5 and 6, which, if it was an 8 or a 10 rounder, I probably would have gotten Shane out there. But the fact that I need to strip it back, and this is something that me and Mark have went and done. We've realised the mistake. We've realised we've both accepted. There was things leading up to the fight which probably I should have never fought. But that's absolutely irrelevant. And I did fight and take, as I say, give Shane the credit. He got the win, but. Mark as a coach and manager needs to take a lot of blame for that. To think, okay, well, if he's fighting somebody of that raw novice level, we need to get somebody in for 6 rounds and just give Stephen hell, because me sparring 10 rounds and working my way up and building my fitness up that way is absolutely no good for the kids I'm going to be fighting at the level I'm at now.
Sure. And it was brushed on by I think Michaela Mayer, who that they were talking about. I mean, listen, the entire Sky commentary team were astonished. I mean, it was a bad night in the office, like you said. It is what it is. The problem is for yourself. Like, a bad night in the office is one of the most public places that you can have it, and like you are in a position where people are going to give you neg. But her thing was like they were talking about your, like you did there, your sparring history and the partners that you use and stuff like that. And then she immediately, twisted it to, if you're not careful, you become essentially just a big sparring partner. Like that's something that she was very, very adamant about getting across. But like what you've just said there is ideal. Like if you're going to fight 6 rounds, then you need that sprint. You need that sprint with people that are, probably a higher level than Shane, but you still need that experience. Have you? Was there any falling out with you and the coach, or was it just like, look, this happens once, this don't happen again?
To be honest, I pissed off to Portugal straight after the fight. And Mark was, Mark took 99%, but there was I haven't even rewatched the fight. I've never listened to the commentary because there is absolutely nothing I can take away from that fight because, as I've said, listen, I will never, ever, ever, if I become world champion and written autobiography, I wouldn't talk about what went on leading up to that fight. That's not me. Sure. I'll not sit here and say, well, this is what happened, and have 100 out of 1,000 people go, oh, well, actually, I feel sorry for him now because that's never going to happen. And I couldn't give a shit what people think. People don't realise that boxing's 70% mentality. It takes, if your head's not in it, then, you've, as I say, I think the fight was lost on the Thursday, to be honest. Even leading up, and Mark, as I say, we're sat and we've spoke about things and we're stripping it back down, and we're just learning the things that are already there and the things that I had in the amateurs and the things I had when I was in the JRE squad, and we're stripping it back down to just the basics and learning to love the art of boxing again, rather than just relying on this and this and hoping that it knocks my opponent out. And if it doesn't, what's plan B and C? And that night they showed that, regardless of my head not being in it, that I didn't have a plan B or C. But at the end of the day, if you rewatch that fight, I can guarantee the cameras don't come to me in the corner because I was telling Mark to fuck off. I was telling him I was going, I couldn't. He's saying, Stephen, you need to do this. And I'm going, listen, piss off. I don't want to be here. And I can guarantee Sky didn't come to me once in the corner.
I don't think they did.
And if they did, they'll have come straight back off us because all I'd done the full minute was tell Mark to piss off. So, as I say, I absolutely love Mark to bits. I've been, I've travelled everywhere with some unbelievable coaches, but for me and Mark have got a bond that, he's my best pal. He's my boxing coach. He's somebody who I look up to, and without him, God knows where I'd be from when I took up boxing 6 years ago to get away from certain things. Without him taking me in under his wing, and that's something I'll never forget. And me and Mark have got a great bond. He's a fantastic coach, and we've both learned from that loss. And we're doing things now that I would have never thought that I would have had to have done, and we really are just stripping it back down and haven't got a fight date yet because we've decided we don't want a fight date. Sky are coming up to Newcastle April 2nd, a massive show back at my home arena, and me and Mark have made the decision that I will not be on that fight. I'm still signed with Sky. For anybody who thinks that's. We had a good conversation with Sky over Zoom the other week, and everything Sky are still, they know what went on. As I spoke to them about it leading up to the fight, and Sky have still got the same mindset and the same path that they wanted for me before I lost that zero. Like I say, too many boxers are frightened about losing that zero. I couldn't give a shit. I don't care about losing that zero.
I mean, from a fan's perspective, and like Jess will vouch for this, and Jess had a couple of bouts himself. Like, it's the zero. Fans just want to see the good fights. Like, if someone is undefeated, fine. The Floyd era, as far as I'm aware, is gone. Like, if Terence took an L, no one cares. If Tank takes an L, no one. We've seen Loma lose twice. We've seen AJ lose a couple of times. We've seen it. It doesn't. It's that era is gone, and for the better. Frankly,
I think
it is for the better.
Realizing it's more about who the fight is, not how many.
Thank you.
You could have 100 bouts and fighting absolutely no one with no experience learned. But I think the public is starting to be a little wizened up to it now. They're knowing. They're starting to learn what boxers have known for their whole lives, that records are for DJs. So
Oh, that's big.
I
Isn't
like
it?
it. Very good.
Oh, look at the boy. So, so Newcastle show. I mean, that would have been something that Mr. Smith would have wanted you out heavily, and you've probably done the right thing in saying, look, there's always going to be other shows. When are you thinking? Are you just going to have some time until you get the itch and just go back in then, or is there a set time?
I just wanna learn to enjoy it and love it again. And it got to a state. See, for me, I signed a deal with Black Flash in May of last year. I was meant to be fighting July. That fell through the sort of contractual side of things that's behind my. So that fight was meant to be July 24th.
Yep.
Then I signed a contract with Sky on July 27th. They then told me that October 16th I'm going to be fighting. So from June through to October, I was in camp, which is a long camp. October finished.
5 months, right?
Then I got told, right, Stephen, you're fighting December the 3rd in Cardiff on the Williams Eubank card. Great. So October 6th, so that rolls from June, July, August, September, October. I then roll straight back into camp. I then roll back into camp. So we're now hitting 6 months because I'm fighting in December. Sky then cancelled that in December because Liam Williams got an injury. I'm now 7 months into a camp. I then get told, right, it's going to be January. Okay, fair enough. I know that I've got 3 weeks, Christmas, New Year, no enjoying myself because I'm fighting January 5th. No problem. So I then roll into January, British Boxing Board, all boxing's cancelled in January. So I'm now 8 months into a camp, sparring 3 times a week. 8 months into a camp, I'm physically, I'm mentally, I'm exhausted. I then get told January the 16th, you're fighting February the 3rd. Okay? So that rolled me into a 9-month camp. 9 months from signing with Black Flash to finding out that I'm fighting July 26th to that. Then, that sort of, it rolled over and rolled over and rolled over to the point where after that fight, I want some time where I'm not told you need to be in the gym for 7 a.m. You need to do 3 mile or 5 mile at 2 p.m. and you're back in the gym at 7 p.m. That lifestyle is a lifestyle I've lived for 9 months. Right, we're checking your weight every Monday. There's your diet plan. This is what you're doing. You're sparring these days. And I'm now at a point where I'm not doing none of that. I go to the gym when I want to go to the gym. I turn up and I do my own thing. I'm learning. I'm taking it easy. And I'm just, I'm finding the love for the sport again where it's not a chore. It's not, and again, people won't realize how much of a mental game of being in a camp for even 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, but to be in a camp for 9 months and rolling over into a fight after a fight after a fight, and then things and falling through, and you've spent money on nutrition, you've spent money on sparring partners, you've spent money on travel, and you've spent money on fuel, and fucking fuel at the minute's 165. So,
Spicy.
Probably even more down your way. So, all jokes aside, you're losing, you're gaining, say, £10,000 a fight, but you've lost 3. Then you've got your management fee. Then you've got, so by the time
and the Queen. You know what I mean? You got to help. You got to help pay up and help out Andrew, ain't you?
You've got to help out.
He's got to have
a exactly.
Shout out to the chalet.
By the time you've gotten your purse, you've lost 4 or 5 grand of it. So when a camp pulls out, that £3,000 that you've lost on fuel and on sparring and on this and on that, that then rolls over to the, but that you don't gain anything from that. No. So that money's just in a pot of, okay, well, my next fight, that's going to have to roll over. So, by the time February come, I was £5,000 out of pocket, and that was without my fees.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm just, like I say, I'm just relearning to love the sport again, finding the art of boxing again. And I know what I need to do. And I've still got 2 fights with Sky. I need to make sure in them 2 fights that I'm not looking at the title fight in December that they're wanting for us still. I'm not looking at what I'm going to do, you know, in September. I'm looking at these next 2 fights to say, this is why Sky signed us. This is why Boxer signed us. Everyone who doubted us and everyone who sent us their messages can piss off, because I know my worth. I know what I've done in the amateurs. I know, you know, what I'm capable of. And that's what I need to make sure that I show them. Whether that be April, May, June, July, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that theirs ready. And, you know, me and Mark are happy to say, okay, we're ready for a camp. We're ready to go into a 6-week camp, strip it back, diet, sport, and then that's when we'll go again, when we'll both accept that we're ready.
Question about the weight and the diet thing. You're 6'7" and a heavyweight. Like, is the diet and the weigh-in, is that like an aesthetic thing for marketing, or is that just something that you like to be a certain range?
Nah, not at all. It's see, so I've got a degree in nutrition. It's something I've done at university, and I'm a massive believer of when you eat shit, you feel shit. And for instance, I went to see Batman last night. Every Sunday is my cheat night. Yep. And we've got a thing in Newcastle called the Gallery, which is like, it's 30 quid. You get your ticket. It's unlimited popcorn, nachos, sweets.
30 quid for the cinema.
Yeah, but you get
Jesus
unlimited
Christ.
everything.
Mate, that's like, you're not walking past a cinema in London for less than 70 notes. It's a piss take.
Well, it's normally about 13, 14 quid a ticket, yeah. So, you know, for 30 quid, you get unlimited food. So, like, last night, I had 2 nachos, some popcorn, some mini eggs, just loads of shit. And then I went home, had a nice chicken and chips. But today, I felt tired, lethargic. Yep. I trained, and when I was sweating, I felt like shit. And
smelled different.
At the end of the day, it's like putting petrol into a diesel car.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. It's you are what you eat. As cliche as that sounds, I'm a big believer of whatever you're putting in your body's got to get rid of that through sweat or through your shit or through your piss. And as I say, I do believe that if you eat healthy, you eat right, you know, that it's got nothing to do with, if I didn't have abs, I couldn't give a shit. If I lose my abs through age, or if I lose, I'm not going to go, oh shit, I haven't got abs, I best go in the sauna, I best go, because that's not the point at all. It's simply because the amount I train and the fact I eat well for my own self and my own body, I think, you know, the abs just come with that. And I think the more you live the sport, the more you breathe the sport, the better you eat, the healthier, the longer you're going to have it in the sport, really. In my opinion,
sure.
Not going up and down in weight and going on the piss when you're not in camp and doing this and doing that. And it's just, as I say, I don't do it. I definitely don't do it for, you know, David Hay done it for an aesthetic thing, and he says it was when he stepped up to heavyweight, he was still sitting in the sauna track making sure he looked good, and he said it was the worst thing he done for himself.
I mean, look at Tyson. I mean, to be fair, I mean, with the exception of Tommy, who's on the shredded, like he shreds that geezer, but like, you know, Huey's not exactly, you wouldn't look at him and just go, he's a fucking specimen. Like, he's a big lump and no shreds. I was going to say, with the Sky thing, so as good as it is that, listen, we've been over this a few times, but like, you know, the Matchroom thing has gone. Sky opened up the wallet and said, Boxer, Wasserman, I'm sure there'll be a few others coming into the mix, but they're very, very big on pushing and pushing and pushing. Do you think that they was, do you think they would have been a little bit more chill in previous eras with like you said, like you told them of some issues, but it was pretty much like, we want you back in, we want you to fight as soon as possible. Are they maybe trying a little bit too hard to get things moving to gain ground, or do you think they're just a massive machine that just can pump it out?
do you know what? I know I'm just a number at the sky. I'm not stupid to thinking that, you know, I'm this, I'm that, and you know, I know that I'm just a number at the sky. And if I say to the sky, listen, I'm not fighting for yous anymore. You know, get the fuck. They're just going to go, all right, ta-ra. They're not going to go, oh, come on, Stephen, come on. We're really, they aren't, you know, I understand that. And I know that. And Sky are being, well, not Sky, but Ben at Boxer, and, you know, those at Boxer are being very supportive and reasonable with what's going on. And, you know, and I couldn't thank them. I couldn't, at the time on the night, I thought, yeah, you know, they can do one, but they've done nothing but, you know, support the situation. And as I say, they've still, but the problem for me was I've never once said, I want to fight Dave Allen, I want to fight Babbage, I want to fight Fabio Wardley. I never put myself up there. Sky done that. I've never once said everything I'm doing, I'm overachieving in life than I've ever expected. Representing my country, sparring world champions, going 4-0, you know, everything that fighting in front of me, 11,000 of my home fans. That's something that I can tell my kids. That's something that I can take to the grave with us. That's something I never expected to be doing. So that zero, like I've said, meant nothing to me. I never put myself up there. I never said I wanted to fight Babbage. I never said I wanted to fight Wardley or, you know, Johnny Fisher. Or, I've never once said that. And the issue is Sky put me on this pedestal. So when I did get beat, people are going, oh, well, you know, bye-bye, and I'm back down there. But I never built myself up to there. So for me, I'm carrying on doing what I'm doing and just gradually getting to as high as I can possibly get to for those who don't believe in themselves, for the little fat kids sitting on a sofa playing Call of Duty thinking, I wish I had joined a gym, because I'm an example of, listen, go and do it, go and chase it, go and get yourself up off your arse and go and chase that dream. Otherwise, you know, you'll get too old, you'll regret it, because everything I'm doing now is just for the ordinary kid who doesn't believe in himself. And listen, if I can bring a title, do I think I'll be a world champion? Nah. And I've never said I will.
Yeah.
Will I get a British title? Absolutely, you know, think I'm more than capable of doing that, and I'd love to do that. Will I get an interim title? Will I get a chance at a world title? Who knows? But me losing that fight against Shane Gill doesn't stop me believing that I can get to the top. Not at all.
No, I think. I mean, to be fair, we've found as well that there's not many people that actually are on the call-out game. Like you say to you mentioned him a couple of times, Fabio. Like Fabio, you say to him, "What's next for Fabs? Is there anyone you want?" And he's just like, "Well, I would like the British title, and if that means I've got to fight Gorman, then I will. If I've got to fight this one, then I will." No one calls out anyone. Like that's
but then I think the fans are wisened up to that as well.
Yeah,
the fans have wisened up that like people like Sky, and they have a reputation to almost put these stories out and these little narratives of, he said this because he wants to fight him. But now with things like social media, everyone has access to the individual. They can see what you personally say and what you personally think by seeing your, like, what you're going and how you're carrying yourself about. So I don't really think that too many people read into the narrative that like the likes of Sky might be putting out there.
I like the human element of your socials, because you put up things that matter to you, which, as gushy as that is a big thing. That's a very warming thing. You know, there's a couple of links that I've clicked on. Immediately it goes back onto the podcast stories, because you just never know what attention that it brings, or someone that we don't even know is following us sees it, and it can help. It can bring perspective. And I really like that about it. And the attitude that you had even first time on is, I mean, it's sterling, right? Decent.
See, for me, like social media, it's a good tool, but it has so much shit. Like the amount of times I've been told, when you're applying for that blue tick, when you're going to get that blue tick, see that blue tick to me, it is absolute. What will it get us? One sponsor, possibly a couple of free pairs of shorts off a company that goes, oh, will you wear our shorts, please, and post a picture in it. Then your social media becomes a marketing tool of, I'm advertising CBD, I'm advertising shorts, I'm advertising shit that I don't suffer with, I'm advertising stuff. Oh, use this please, and do a post for it. We'll send you it for free, and we'll give you 25% of everything that you know people buy. And my stories just become not the fun side of, right, Stephen, I'm doing a Disney quiz today while I'm spinning, or I'm just being the daft person that I am. It becomes a person where I become a marketer for myself to make a couple of £100 a month. And that's not me. No. Money is absolutely irrelevant to me. Like, I've been brought up with nothing, and I'll go to my grave with the same amount of money. You know, we'll all die with the same amount of money in my van, you know, irrelevant of what's there. So for me, this whole social media, this blue tick, this marketing, this, you need to market yourself, you need to do this, you need to push the whole, before the conflict of Russia, and I never once called myself Stephen Ivan Drago Robinson. I never once called, you know, so this was all like marketing. You need to do this, you need to do that, you need. And for me, I just thought, no, social media for me is just to show that I'm an absolute 6'7", ADHD, daft, absolute imbecile, and that's me. And you know, if you'll either hate us and think what a dickhead, or you'll go, oh, fair, yeah, he's good crack, him. But what you won't see is, oh, can you please buy this? Can you please buy that? Can you please do this? Can you please do that? It's, you know, the odd post. I'll post for a friend's business, or I'll post to help somebody. That's fine. Once a week, or once every 2-3 weeks, you'll see it. Maybe it's on my story. But this whole blue tick thing and everything, I haven't even applied for my blue tick. Instagram contacted us and says you're applicable for one, but we need to see your passport. Haven't even sent it in because it means nothing to us.
It means nothing. I mean, look, we know trainers, like we know PTs, like fellow PT pad holders, PTs in a pure gym somewhere that have a blue tick. I mean, I don't know really what it gets. It doesn't get you anything. You know,
it gets you probably £200 a month with the right amount of followers to gain £200 a month to have to do 4 posts.
Oh, that reminds me, actually, patreon.com, fighting words, join the resistance, £2 a month, £5 a month. You know, we're launching a league, Steve, a prediction league. Maybe there'll be prizes. Maybe we knock them. It don't matter. £2 a month, though. Become a local celebrity. That's a picture of Chris Eubank Jr. looking very smug as our Patreon lowest tier one. Not disrespect to him, but I just like his vibe and I like how crazy he is. What has Sky said about the USSR moniker? Are you going to change it up, or are you going to just chill and just wait for this all to blow over, or maybe come back out as Vladdy P, Steve Robinson?
To be fair, though, that again, you're always going to get that dickhead who, you know, sits and goes, right, you are a racist, you're against Ukraine, you're this, you're that. The whole USSR thing, Russia aren't taking over Ukraine to become USSR. Russia aren't taking over Ukraine to say, right, well, now we've got Ukraine, now what we're going to do is we're going to gain this place back and that place back, and we're going to become USSR, the Soviet Union. That's not the case. You know, there's we're not going to get into the politics of why I believe and why you believe and why what's happening. Listen, what's happening is wrong, irrelevant of what you know. It's disgraceful with what he's doing, but at the same time, that's got nothing to do with the hammer and sickles. It's got nothing to do with Ivan Drago. It's got nothing to do with USSR. So the people who are looking at it going, "Boy, he's against Ukraine. He's for Russia and this, that, and t'other," that's their mindset. That's their perspective of who give you that. Ian, is that Catwoman's cat? Is that from the film? Is that a gimmick?
First of all, this is so one day my wife didn't speak to me all day, and then I got home, and then there was that black cat and its daughter. And obviously my two little girls had already seen the kitten and they were embraced in the kitten. And now we have two black cats that live here. Now, Ian, on the other hand, Jess, a little bit too into them cats, isn't he? Like, I love him dearly. And them cats are beautiful cats. That dude loves his cats. He will kill you for those cats. He will kill you straight up.
Straight from the set of Batman, Selena Kyle's cats.
I mean, to be fair, the big one is named Selena after Catwoman. That's just a weird coincidence. It's whatever. She was long and black and thin. It was either going to be Naomi. I now call her Lizzo because she's gained a little bit of timber, but all good. But with Sky then, are you just going to carry on? Because like it's Drago. You look like a lookalike. You know, it's the instant.
That's the thing. It's not. It's from a Rocky movie. How can people really take any sort of context from that?
People will be offended by anything about anyone.
But the issue is, you've hit the nail on the head. People are offended. You see people who go to fancy dresses as Mr. T, and they might put a bit black face paint on, and the next thing you know, it's all they've lost the football, they've lost a contract, or they've been kicked out of a cricket team, or they've been kicked. And it just becomes like world press of something they done 10 years ago for a fancy dress party. This is the issue, especially with social media now. I come out to, my next fight with the whole USSR thing on it. It's going to be, wow, this guy's a racist, this guy's a fascist, he's a right-wing communist. And it's like, people aren't going to go, well, he's not really a communist. He's just a kid who's going with the gimmick of looking like Ivan Drago and carrying it on. Has nothing to do with Russia taking over Ukraine. That has nothing to do with them wanting the Soviet Union back. That's to do with NATO and Putin being Putin and being aggressive and, not like letting people take the piss out of him and feeling like he's backed up against the walls. That's the real reason of why Putin's doing what he's doing. But people don't see that. People will just think he's anti-Ukraine, and this is the issue that we've got today. And for me personally, I think it's definitely something that I need to draw back from. But isn't that if Sky's saying no, still wear the gear, still do it, then that's...
I'd be astonished. I would be genuinely astonished because, you're talking about something owned by Comcast, Sky lately, and this is no disrespect to Hannah Rankin, but they've been having Hannah Rankin in just because there's a female on the card. And it's just like, look, great. Have a little bit of, it's forced diversity. Hey, you're not wearing the red and yellow anymore, mate. Maybe coming out, like we said before, maybe as Apollo. That will really, really even the score. Maybe just like one of those bodybuilder creosote tans and just be like, no, I'm super tanned. My uncle is David Dickinson and I'm just into this. Yeah. The Lion King, perhaps. I think we should workshop this as we speak.
Yeah, but I think Disney Drago with a little bit. But again, the whole Drago thing, it's
you got to get rid of anything to do with it. It's even though you predate it.
If it was 1993, Drago would have been Russian and everything would have been all right, or he could have been Ukrainian, but because
he could have been fucking Kazakh,
but because of when it was and everything that it's representing at the time being, it's just I've come into boxing at the worst fucking time. I turned pro just pre-COVID, and then now Russia are attacking Ukraine, and my whole nickname and gimmick is Ivan Drago USSR. So I think I literally have come into, but it's probably going to make a way where you're not allowed to be above 6'6" to box. That's probably going to be the next thing. So I'll have another year of going through cases of being too tall to box. I've literally turned pro at the worst time possible.
The Drago thing though, like you can't really, if Sky say go ahead, you can't have such bad publicity. Like That's the
You
thing,
just
isn't
got to have it on video,
If
them
Sky give you-
saying,
if
go
Sky
ahead.
give you-
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Then you start, all right.
Yeah, but at
play
the
that
same
before you come
time,
out, and then
at the same time, Sky put me up there, and then when I got beat, they were just like, all right, like they didn't come out and say, oh well, actually, Steve got beat because of this. They just sort of built us up to there, and then when I got shot down there, they were like, oh. So Sky might say, oh yeah, go with the USSR thing, and then when people are like, you fucking dickhead, they'll just go, yeah, we'll tell them not to do that.
Yeah, you'll have Adam giving it we've told him not to do this, but he's such a character and committed. Yeah.
And I'll have a
they
load
love
of
it.
Russians, I'll have a load of Ukrainians knocking on my door, you know, knocking
How
on my
many of
door.
them in Newcastle?
No, there's a lot of Polish, but
This-
I don't think they'll be too happy either.
No.
I think I'll have a few people knocking on my door if when that goes ahead. So I think taking it away and getting back onto Susie Wong and spending another 700 quid on a new fight kit, what I'm gonna have to do.
Do you think that they listen? It's very tit for tat, and you guys are the instruments of that. Do you think that they was trying to cultivate you as their version of a Johnny Fisher? Because listen, Johnny is wildly popular. He's selling tickets. He's somehow Bosch belongs to him. And Johnny is genuinely a lovely guy. It's not his fault that he's being marketed as this like saving grace to Southern heavyweight boxing. There's like the next up and comer. Do you think Sky kind of wanted to cultivate their own version just to keep things moving, but for the North?
Yeah. But I think with Lewis Ritson, the whole Lewis Ritson thing, and the seeing how big it was with him and the following he got, I think, it was with Newcastle as well, with the takeover and what's happening in Newcastle, and obviously Luke and Pat have now turned pro, 2 Olympians, and we've got Callum French and what have you, and we had a load of one stage. We had about 6 people turning over that were GB representatives, and obviously we had Troy Williams just win the British title. So I think they sort of thought, right, Newcastle are massive on sport. They love boxing, they love football, and we've got somebody here who we can market really big for the sport. Let's do it. And their plan has always been to go and fight at St. James's Park.
Right.
In front of 52,000, Savannah versus Clarissa Shields, world title.
Yep.
And that was always their plan, and that's still their plan. So I think to build me up, but it's shot them in the back really, because as I say, I've never put myself up there. I've never told people I'm going to be the next big thing. I've never said I want to fight Dave Allen and I want to fight Babbage and I want to fight Wardley and I want to fight Johnny and Solomon. I've never once said that. But, them building me up to the top to then realise. But as I say, I couldn't give a shit about that fight. And going forward, I couldn't give a shit what people think. And I know, as I say, what went on, why I lost the fight, and what I'm capable of, what I need to do, and when I, redeem myself, and I will do it. And I've got 2 fights left with Sky. I'll make sure that on the 3rd fight, we're giving it a bigger, better contract.
Yeah. Make it count. With the fight itself, like I know you said you haven't watched it, but to be fair, like you had him pretty badly hurt in the 5th, hurt in the 6th, and like you said, a couple more rounds and he's probably gone. I mean, he's a tough boy. I respect him. Have you 2 spoken at all?
No. The 5th and the 6th, it was so weird because rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I'm coming back to the corner. And I remember saying to Mark, I'll walk out this fucking ring. I don't care what's going on. I couldn't give a shit. And he's going, Stephen, lift your hands up. And I'm going, nah, I'm not. Yep. I'm nobody's puppet. I'm not being anybody's puppet. I'm not being anybody's gimmick. I couldn't care what happens to me on tonight. I want to prove to people I'll fight him in a phone box. I don't care what's happening. I'll stand with him toe to toe. And until I'm stretching out this ring, I'm not leaving. And
Yeah.
and that was my mentality of rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4. I know that he's not knocking me out, and I'm gonna knock him out. And if I don't knock him out, we're both going back to the corner until one of us knocks each other out. Then rounds 5, Mark went right, and he started talking to us, and I remember looking up and seeing I caught him with a left hook, and the screen was above me. So I'm sitting in the corner, and Mark was talking to us, and I remember looking up, and it was the end of that round, and I caught him with a left hook, and he sort of stumbled back, and it showed you 2 shots that he caught on me, and my hair flicking back.
Yep.
And I remember saying to Mark, "What round are we?" And he went, "Round 5. You need to win these last 2." He went, "It's very close." He says, "If you win these 2, it could go either way.
Yep.
But you need to win these 2." And I was like, fucking hell. I've done 4 rounds and I can't even, this is genuine on my mum's life. I can't even remember being in the ring for them 4 rounds.
Jesus
I can't
Christ.
even remember having them 4 rounds. And I can remember Mark saying, "These 2 rounds are massive. You need to win these rounds." And I went out, and that's when I started the box. That's when I started to go on the back foot, pick them off with shots, and work on little big, then hoy a big one in, and then I come back in the 6th, and Mark was like, "Right, good round. You need to win this one. It might be a draw if you win this one. It could go either way."
Yep.
And listen, if I had have won, I am so glad that Shane Gill won that fight. 2 reasons. One, because you see far too many times. We've seen it with Adelaide and Sokolowski. We've seen it with Catterall and Taylor. We've seen it with Golovkin. We've seen it at the top of the game, and then at the very bottom, the likes of Campbell Hatton when he got a decision, which was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
so I am glad
that
the referee didn't say to me, didn't give me the result, because if he had have given us the result, I would have went straight at Adam, it's Sky, and I would have went, "Listen, my next fight is 100% with him because he deserves a rematch, because he deserves to win tonight, not me. So personally, I'm glad that he got the win because he showed more heart, more determination, more grit, and he wanted it more than me on the night. So
it was just his night. It's the only way to describe it. It 100% wasn't your night, but it was his night. That's probably his British, his European, his world title. That's it.
Yeah.
And respect to him. I've not even seen, I think he's probably fought a few more times. He's decided to go down the journeyman route, I think.
No, to be fair, I think he was meant to be fighting the week after, but I know the British boxing book, because I broke his nose.
Right.
So that fight got pulled. I don't think he's fought again. Personally, I think Shane, and I'm not just saying this off the back of the loss, because as I've said, I couldn't give a shit about the loss, but I think Shane will be the next Sokolowski. I think he'll retire a lot of people. I think you'll see him get wins off people who are 3-4-0 and coming up, and I think you will see, because he's got that awkward style. If he gets enough time to stay fit and gets enough time to be in a full camp, I think he'll shock a few people just off his toughness and his awkwardness. And people who think
it's a necessary test, that though, isn't it? Really, for the division.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course.
What do you make of the Wesserman Channel 5 thing? As someone that you're a Sky fighter. Channel 5 is, the Hennessy cards were fun.
I was just about to say they've tried it with Dave. They've tried, but the thing is with Wasserman is they've got some fantastic boxers, the likes of Nathan Gorman and stuff. They've signed some big names, and it's in Wasserman are working with Sky. Yep. So the whole thing. I can remember when Frank Warren started, obviously Black Flash, and then we had
Frank Warren started Black Flash. I thought that was that's Frank Warren
and Pat Barrett.
Yeah, I thought it was Pat. I didn't know Frank was anything to do with that.
Yeah, it was like it was building up Frank's Fighters.
Yeah.
And then obviously Hearn had Next Gen, which was, building up. So I think that whole Channel 5 thing with Wasserman will just be building up people who will then be signing with Sky in the next 2-3 years. It'll just be their way to say, right, yes, who we've got, do you want to sign them type thing. Get people 10 and 11 and 0, get them out actively 6-7 times a year, and then they get a contract with somebody like Sky. I think
like the lower league stuff as well, like the sort of stuff that would have traditionally been your small halls.
Yeah,
it gets it a chance to get televised and get the audiences understanding the sport at that sort of starting point, rather than only ever seeing these big sort of 50,000 arena shows.
I think from a business perspective, I think it's very smart because not everyone, and I think the fact that Sky are putting the fights on Sky Showcase as well is a very smart thing business side, because you look at what DAZN done. DAZN charged $1.99 for 6 months, got thousands and over millions of people signing up for £2. Then they sent you a text and said, oh, by the way, next month it's going to be £8. Now, how many people from that charging £2 have went and cancelled the subscription? I can guarantee there's only 50%.
I know personally 10 that just went, I'm not paying £8 for this. I'm already paying for Sky Sports. I'm paying for BT Sport. I'm not paying £8. £2 was fine. £5, $4.99 would have been all right. Also, they charged me for January. There was no boxing in January. That's a liberty. That's a piss take.
The flashbacks weren't even good.
Yeah.
But the issue is with DAZN now, they've obviously got the football, they've got the rugby, they've got the tennis, they're putting more and more things. I think they're going to become the next sort of sports of Amazon type thing. And
Netflix of sport. Russian owned though. Russian owned, son. Yeah, we're going to keep that quiet. You know what I mean? That might get a little bit dirty.
So when Ukraine take over Russia, they decide, shite of this, let's join NATO and let's take over Russia. So I think it's a business side of things. I think it's a good business by Wasserman, to build up and I think they'll get a lot of people watching it as well. People sitting in on a Saturday night with a few beers, just hiring Channel 5 on, people who probably wouldn't even have normally watched boxing, just because it's on Channel 5. It's easy to hire on.
I mean, I would be astonished if they didn't have Denzel Bentley and Linus Sudofa for the British middleweight one on as one of their first shows on Channel 5, because number one, both of them are fantastic talkers. It's a brilliant fight. It's, everything that you want. The only problem is like there's a weird lack of prestige, isn't there, with Channel 5? But on the flip to it, everyone's got access to it. If you got a telly, you got Channel 5 if you're in the UK. And there's no app, there's no subscription, there's nothing. So it's not outside the realm of reason for it to be a decent go.
Yeah, they've got nothing to lose, really, have they? They've probably because of what channel it is, and it'll not be massive amounts of money to Channel 5. And as I say, I think it'll work. I think it'll personally be, it's a good business side, and I can guarantee Sky have got something to do with it, and they'll be pushing that. And as I say, it'll probably become the next generation of boxers that are going to be signing over with Sky.
Why don't we, speaking of Channel 5, because they love to play these two films, I mean, you could do Showdown in Little Tokyo, which is an epic London banger, or you got Universal Soldier, also banger. Universal Soldier would be sick.
Yeah, I might have to. That might be my next gimmick.
Have that for free.
Fair shout, that one.
It ain't a gimmick though, is it? You're born and you look like a geezer. It's not a gimmick anymore. You just got to own it.
Come out in all army gear and it's empty.
just be very careful about the badges that are on the uniform on the way out, because you don't want to be. Yeah, you know what I mean. Do the rainbow badge.
Yeah,
let everyone know.
That'll be accepted. I'll become a global icon, and the next big happy thing, and we see it in football now. The captaincy armbands are all rainbowed, and it's. Well, let's not get into it.
Big Steve, let's call that there because it's getting late. I would like something to eat. I think you said that you would also like to eat and to chill. Guys, thank you so much. And you just want a little bath. I mean, it's just that's the fragrance. That's what you want.
Yeah,
it's everyone.
I smell like my nana's just been dead for 12 years. It's not a good smell. It's not a good smell. It's not a good smell.
Geezer, thank you so much, mate. We'll speak soon, yeah?
Really appreciate it, Rob. Thank you very much.
Mate, always. Open invite whenever you want.
Jesse, thank you very much as well, mate.
Thank you very much, mate.
Later, guys. Bye.
Cheers. Good night. God bless. See you after.